Redemption is a strong element across fiction, which is used to turn bad characters into better people. Many times, the characters seen as villains become the heroes who fight for a cause. The Naruto series has given us many such individuals who turned a new leaf after seeing the wrong in their deeds. But Orochimaru's redemption is one of the most unique and unexpected things to ever exist in the story. It is less about complete moral transformation and more about a shift in perspective, making it an intriguing part of the narrative. In the anime, it's revealed that Orochimaru has abandoned his previous ambitions of world domination and immortality. He is now more interested in scientific research and the pursuit of knowledge. So could he have figured out something that would help Kashin Koji and Boruto in their battle against fate? After all, he is living on the same planet, whose destruction would mean he will die and never come back. So even if he has obtained the secret to immortal youth, he would need to get rid of all the factors that could potentially end his planet. Otherwise, his years of research is worthless. Well, the reason I'm bringing up Orochimaru has something to do with how the story is setting up Boruto's time skip trials, along with a huge hint from chapter 13. But let's first understand why the return of Orochimaru is more possible than you may think. Also, if you see a subscribe button down there, it means you are missing out on a lot of content, so just tap on it right now to never miss another upload from my site. The first point comes from how Ikimoto is utilizing the destiny of older generation in building up the characters and plots of the current story. The mighty fate of Jiraiya is now driving Kashin Koji. Sasuke's prowess was transferred to his Shinju clone Hidari. Naruto indirectly played a huge role in driving his son into darkness thanks to Kawaki's twisted obsession. Plus, the Shinju is hunting for characters like Konohamaru and Kurama, and being the manifestation of Ten Tails, who had also played a major role in the prequel, only hints at more use of older elements in the coming times. So how come do we know Orochimaru is on his way to make a comeback as well? It's not that Mitsuki is on Boruto's side, so now he may ask his father for a helping hand. Rather, the involvement of Orochimaru in the story has a lot of symbolic importance than anything else. Boruto as a character has inherited Naruto's traits and Sasuke's training plus tactics. Both the characters from the previous generation have played a major role in nourishing the prodigy, and it wasn't hard to deduce from Kashin Koji's entry in Boruto's life that he is being trained from his father's previous mentor's clone by fate. It was predestined for him to come across the cyborg of the great son in Jiraiya, who played a vital role in Naruto's journey. And judging by this analogy, it's very possible for Sasuke's original mentor to also become a huge pillar in Boruto's endeavor against evil. A really great hint to back this comes from how Naruto and Sasuke have been witnessing similar twists of fate throughout their lifetimes. What happens to one of them has happened to the other one as well, be it the timing of receiving new power-ups, the loss of a major ally or ability, or getting temporarily sealed away. Going by this analogy, Boruto getting mentored by Kashin Koji raises the possibility for Orochimaru to help him as well, and there are so many hints in the story which have laid the foundation of Orochimaru's return. The first and the most recent one comes from chapter 13, where someone seems to be approaching Kashin Koji. Although it could be a normal sign pointing out the return of his toad, the real reason it's believed to be Orochimaru is pretty interesting. Just like how all of us remember the addresses to the places that we once lived in, how come Orochimaru may not be aware of this hideout that Koji was using to train Boruto all this time? No matter whether it's his first time visiting the place or not, he could have some beneficial intel on how to defeat the Shinjus and even Kawaki based on his knowledge of seals. But that's not the only thing which would make him a golden asset to Boruto. He was even responsible for creating the curse mark, a tool which is similar to the Otsutsuki Kama seal. This means he was always ahead of time, and right now when there is no concrete way of defeating the present threats, he could make a return to provide some strong solution to handle the Ten Tails situation. Now, before going over to Orochimaru's role in saving the planet as a part of his ultimate redemption, let's look at some hints teasing he was with Kashin Koji and Boruto throughout the time skip. First, the mention of the secret base being an abandoned hideout of Orochimaru is in itself a major hint for his return. It's called the Shikao's gun in literature, a narrative principle where an element introduced into a story first seems unimportant but later takes on a greater significance. So if there wasn't any appearance planned for Orochimaru, there wasn't any need for Koji to specifically mentioned it's his base. We then have the accessories worn by Boruto like the Uzumaki jacket and necklace. Orochimaru knows the abandoned hideouts of the prodigy's ancestral clan, which must be full of such artifacts. So the possibility for him to be the one who gave Boruto all these items is definitely high. Another major thing about this character is that he kind of foreshadowed a lot of things about the next generation. First, the creation of the curse mark that he could have derived from the Kama seal, and we will discuss that in a moment. Then we have calling upon the Shinigamis, the gods of death of the underworld. Looking at how the godhood plot is being extended in Boruto, Orochimaru was definitely ahead of time. Furthermore, he even made immortality his goal, which is one of the main motives of Otsutsuki's as well. But humanity couldn't have gotten so much knowledge by themselves, right? There must be some source that Orochimaru used to replicate Otsutsuki powers even before this clan was introduced. He knew a lot of history as well by traveling around the world, collecting intel and knowledge about different places and people in his time after leaving Konoha. There came a time when he landed upon an individual who became his devoted follower. It was Kimimaro, a descendant of the Kaguya clan who could have been a vital key to Orochimaru's divine knowledge. There is a very little chance of Orochimaru not knowing about Kaguya to some extent, whether directly because of Kimimaro or due to the things left behind by the Kaguya clan. This explains how he must have ultimately learned about Kaguya's abilities to some extent, and the Karma Seal isn't too separated from Kaguya, despite us not knowing her to have implanted one herself at any point in time. We can't really know how much info Kaguya would have disclosed about the Karma to the humans she became close with, but it's not unreasonable to assume that members of the clan would have known and written about it to some extent. Things like this could have easily made their way to Orochimaru, even if they aren't meant to. His fascination with Otsutsuki is yet another time hints at him getting involved with Boruto, as he must be curious to study his Otsutsukified body, as well as discovering new things about these beings. Another point is that Orochimaru could be to Boruto what Amado is to Kawaki, someone smart enough in science who could provide logical and reasonable solutions to tackle different situations. Just like how Amado may be behind Kawaki's next power-up, Orochimaru could be hiding some card under his sleeves that could provide him some huge help in turning the odds in their favor. Now this brings us back to what may have brought Orochimaru to Kashin Koji's place in chapter 13. Looking at how the Shinju situation has gotten worse as the other villages are now involved, it seems like Orochimaru could have cracked the code to fighting these 10-tailed humanoids based on his research and knowledge exchanged with Kashin Koji. One of the possibilities being the Reaper Death Seal, a power that may work on these creatures if executed properly. Even though he wasn't shown to use this ability himself in the story, the possibility for him to teach Boruto a technique which seals away Otsutsuki's is very high, based on how he must have gathered some important intel to deal with these beings. Orochimaru and Kashin Koji's meetup is literally the reunion of the legendary Sanins, which give it a strong symbolic importance for the plot. A major reason that I believe could push Orochimaru to help out Boruto would be the knowledge of Amado obtaining Jiraiya's remains and creating a clone out of it. We know Kabuto wasn't able to find the remains of Jiraiya back in the war since they were literally too deep in the ocean, so Amado getting his hands on those remains that should have disappeared deep within the ocean must have intrigued Orochimaru to meet this individual. He's kind of a rival in science to him, which is another good reason for the Snake Sage to give his best at helping out Boruto. After all, his contribution would save the world from these monstrous creatures who have put everyone's life on stake. Another reason for Orochimaru to side with Boruto has something to do with his cloning knowledge. He's the only one besides Amado who could create a clone for Boruto on whom the Karma could get implanted, making the prodigy gain an extra life by having a backup already. Boruto's death has been foreshadowed a few times in Two Blue Vortex, and the only way to ethically execute his resurrection would be by the means of using the Karma on some synthetic human instead of sacrificing an innocent life. The last theory for this video revolves around the similarity between Toneri Otsutsuki and Mitsuki. Both of these characters look very similar in their base and chakra mode, which makes me believe that Orochimaru could have some hand in it. So what if the Snake Sage has been secretly working with Toneri Otsutsuki to make some preparations for the worst possible future? I know it sounds a bit reached, but hear me out. Not only do Mitsuki and Toneri look similar, but when Urashiki came to Earth, he recognized the sage mode of Mitsuki after taking a sample of his chakra. This may be because he had already seen Toneri's chakra mode, which is quite similar to Mitsuki's transformation. Also, Mitsuki could have a hand in the Jogen's awakening since he was the one to transfer Shibai's cells from Boro into Boruto's body. So maybe Orochimaru is the one who's fulfilling the prophecy of Toneri Otsutsuki. He deliberately used his cells to subconsciously make Mitsuki the moon of Boruto. And not to mention Toneri lives on the moon, and the Jogen is shaped like this celestial body as well. All in all, I believe a huge role is coming up for Orochimaru. He could have tapped into Mitsuki's memories to figure out omnipotence too, even though that's a far-fetched idea, but still a possibility. Well, here is the bonus theory for you regarding the new Prescience Shinjutsu. Since Kashin Koji looks into the future where Boruto has mastered all his current abilities, how come did the future counterpart of Boruto learn those techniques at first place? Is there a grandfather paradox going on here, or could it be that future Boruto is living a different and more difficult destiny? Well, you can find your answers in the right video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time.